Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM24. It's Yeti episode number 2. We're only just into the beginning of March, so 2 months into the playthrough, really a month and a half into the playthrough. And the database, the world database that we are using, is already starting to show itself for what the possibilities are, that there is a chance to improve nations. Because in this short amount of time, already 2 countries, latest being Slovenia, previously Brazil, have added popularity points to their nations. Wins have done that. Now, of course, the goal for this series is to become the best. Right now, I am limiting myself to signing riders from the smallest nations in the game. Nations with a 1-1 rating. 1-1 being popularity and training. For example, Costa Rica is too good. They are too powerful. I will not allow myself to sign a rider from Costa Rica or Guatemala or Cuba as a 2-1 nation. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Republic of Panama are all too strong. But now, as we get down to Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, the Bahamas, Honduras, Belize, Grenada, those are all 1-1 nations. And those 6 are 6 of the 30 nations at the beginning of this playthrough that have that 1-1 rating for the moment. That's all I can sign, is riders from those 30 nations. But as I do the thing that could possibly level up, say, Honduras, we get a win for a Honduran rider, there's a 20% chance. If it's a 2.1 race, there's a 20% chance that that will result in Honduras becoming a 2-1 nation. But I'm not limiting myself to just those 30. What I'm going to do, and this is that snowball effect in a little more detail this time around, the snowball effect is that when I do that, when I get that particular win, I will add to those 30 nations that we have by adding some of the existing 2.1 nations like Jamaica, Puerto Rico. Now, how I do that is we're going to roll the wheel. The wheel will pop up on one of the groupings of all those 2-1 or 2-2 nations. There's only a couple 2-2 nations, but the popularity 2 nations. And then I will add that group in. Now, the numbers vary on how many nations that adds, and early on, it'll add a lot. The 2 popularity nations, there's lots of them. The 3 popularity nations, there's lots of them. But I have it split up into groups. And so if I get a win with that Honduran rider in that requisite race, that 2.1 or that 1.1 level race, I might add in the group of America's nations that are at that 2-1, if that's the one that's drawn. Learning more about the prospecting system as we get in. I'm new to the game this year, just getting started with it. Haven't gone that far into the game just yet with my first look video or with the tutorial that I've completed already. So this is really the farthest I've been into the game up to this point, and I'm learning about this prospecting system as we go along. Amazon and Lotto Destiny development team, that was not a scenario of having 2 potential sponsors. That is a collective. They are looking to take over sponsorship rights as a whole. So it would be Amazon and Lotto Destiny with a 50-50 split, meaning we should have similar amounts of funds coming from the pair of them, and then they each have their own separate demands. Amazon, you could see, would be highly demanding. There's a lot of big races that they would care about. But for now, as they came in first, they've already developed a fair amount of interest. Now, a number of others are coming in. Safran Ubisoft, Decra Cycling Team, and Provincia de Chile. Now this one has me a little curious. Triple sponsor? I didn't realize a triple sponsor could be possible. Slovenia has gained its 2nd point in less than a week, now at 5 with a win at Paris-Nice. It's Pogacar who has earned that one. And again, this is really showing off that the World Database has really nerfed those totals to bring them down. But as one can guess, Slovenia is already going to come in as a pretty strong standalone nation. The cycling of offers, I'm starting to pick up on how that works. It's late April now. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything. We have yet to have our first race of the year. We've had a couple national championships, but we haven't had a single race yet, and we are now approaching 3 months since anyone on the team has been involved in a race. Once you get to 60 days, their morale takes a huge hit. So we have low morale across the team. The offer from Amazon / Lotto Destiny development team is at 820,000. Sounds like a decent chunk of cash until you look at what we're making now. And that's 804,000. By the way, I've already gone in and nerfed Italy and Sweden as they were in very high demand for us. It's now the lowest priority, a 1, and the lowest demand, the lowest quantity of riders that they want within the team. Meaning it would be a simple high five if you had a rider from Italy, and if you had a rider from Sweden, it would be worth a high five. But that's all it's worth to them now. So we've turned that down. We don't have to face retribution for not having the riders that they need. We can stick with Yeti Racing if we would like. At this point, I would certainly like to, but we'll see how things progress with this system. And I've heard that this visibility objective is broken at the moment, so we'll see if an update takes care of that soon before we get to the end of the season. But the way things are going, it's getting pretty well into the season already. We're into May and our first race of the year. Here's why expectations are really low. First off, our ratings. A 56 Baradur rating is the best individual attribute rating on the entire team. Baradur doesn't mean squat for us, though, so a 56 downhill for one rider is the only plus 55, and most of our attributes are 50 to 53. Expectations are incredibly low, but then it's May, and we haven't seen any races up until this point throughout the year. So motivation is 0 or very low because they haven't raced all year. We enter this first race with expectations, even though every single rider has an objective for this. None of them have reached their fitness peaks yet because they haven't raced. It's hard with training alone. The fitness is good. It's going to help offset a couple attributes, but with -2s and -4s, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take a couple riders with a really strong race day condition boost, like a +5 on top of whatever that is, meaning a couple +3s, couple +1s is the only chance we have of performing with this. With a little hill at the end, we might not even make it by the second time over the hill. I think we can at least make it that far, hopefully, right? Today's breakaway has 11 riders. Could have had 12. I put my -5 race day condition guy into the break, and the peloton chased it really hard. They were not interested in 12 riders being in the break. First rider dropped was my rider, because, he's got a 50 overall, and he's on a -5 race day condition, so easily the first rider dropped. But the moment he made contact with the peloton just sat right on up, decided, 11's the perfect number. They just couldn't handle us in the break. Well, with him back in the break, we are settled in. I just about did okay when it came to the race day condition situation, as we do have a +1 and a 0 and a -1 for 3 of these riders, a couple -2s. I think that could have been worse. It's just about neutral, maybe a +1 kind of day. So we'll see if these guys can do anything. We're coming up on that climb for the very first time. We've got 90K left to go in this race, and let's see what happens as we hit the climb. It's 3.1 kilometers, 8.8%. It's pretty dang steep. I've got a 78 effort set for the group. Let's slow it down a little bit because we are definitely drifting here, very quickly drifting, and we are only halfway up the climb, and it's looking like we could go out the back quite quickly if we don't counter this at least a little bit better than we are right now. Let's go 82 effort level. Yeah, we're still drifting pretty quick even at that. Just watching the position now to make sure nobody's suddenly in the back third. 83, we're definitely still drifting, but holding position a lot better. Luckily, there's just not that much tempo in the peloton right now. We got a group that just lost contact with the peloton, and the way it's looking right now, they are not going to reestablish it. And 3 of my protected riders were here. They were in the middle of, well, they were back middle of the peloton here. I mean, there's a lot of riders dropped at this point. These 3 guys still have a chance to get up there, but the pace is really bad right now. And we're going to have to try to go all in on one of these guys, the -2 guy, to chase. And we're going to have to follow with our, that's our 2 guys with best race day condition, meaning the 2 best at having some sort of chance to do something. Is there a relay? Is there a chance to regain that contact? Certainly not if we're getting blocked to get to the front. I'm not... Oh. Sitting there saying I'm not sure an 85 is enough to make the contact, and then I roll up and it suddenly resets it to a 70. Yeah, technically we are 2 minutes behind, but you can see, you know, the gap is not as bad as it seems. We already had one out the back. Jamoto, that was the guy we actually tried to put in the breakaway. He's at the back of the field. Let's put him on auto. Silva is actually regaining contact here. Can he get back in the mix and gel up? Domovsky's been dropped. Need to pay attention to what's going on here with Gonzalo. Oh, and Gonzalo never got water. So 2 riders did not get water because our water guy, which was Silva, never made it to the front. This isn't even the climb. This is just a little hill. Zamet. Finally getting a little support. There's definitely more guys here. I want him to keep pushing at least to the base of the climb. Alright, base of the climb. Damn it, he's going to do what he can going forward. Just for that last little bit, and on to Mohammedi. Leading out Faceni. Pay attention to what's going on with Gonzalo, who's very much at the back end of the group. And he is dropped as well. There's 77 riders up the road. This is how weak we are right now, folks. This is how bad it looks. At this point, Gonzalo's useless on his own. We need the 3 riders together to try to do something. This is not the race that has the objective. It's the next race tomorrow. But this is showing how weak they are. I mean, we were putting in a pretty solid effort to recover their position after that first climb, and they never made it more than halfway, not even halfway, up through the field, except for 2 guys. And there's that guy right there, already dropped. Gonzalo is a little more fresh than them now, so he will follow. 21 chasing. We've certainly improved our position, but we're now, 4.5 minutes down. Alright, we are now trying to relay, trying to make contact with the next group ahead. Get some support.
Breakaway at the front.
And we've definitely made some forward progress as we make contact with these guys. But we are group A6, now A7. Lots of riders up the road. Mohammedi is done. 2 riders just left this group behind. Very quickly, very easily. We're going to have to change tactics for a little bit. Sit tight. Protect. Save it for the climb. Climb as fast as we can. Move up as many spots as we can. We've got enough of a group around us, and they are riding. They are They've certainly not just sat up, but we are, 5:45 behind. Fuseni has the +1, but he's got a 50 for his mountain rating. So Gonzalo, the Filipino with a 53 mountain, he is the leader today. He is the right selection for that. But the gap's gone out further without a push, without a hard chase. We're not catching groups ahead of us. We've really just kind of stayed put through here. But we head towards the base of the climb. 5K to go. 4.4K to go. So Fuseni gonna start trying to pull things forward. Now it's Group A15 as the front is just blowing up. And we are so far down the standings here. Not a good showing for the team's first attempt. But with some really nasty race day conditions, it's no surprise. 3.1K, and actually we're hanging in there just fine. Let's push harder.
That's just fantastic.
Kaczmarek has won for Poland. And we are catching another group and moving right on through, and so are those two guys. Culverwell. Yeah, I know Culverwell.
The tail enders are still coming in.
2K. $1.5K. Okay, red bar gone. Let's see, he's still going forward. Without the red bar, you don't push quite as hard, but you still push. 900 meters sprinting. Out of the saddle. Gonzalo is able to follow because he's got some red bar left. And he's a little bit stronger climber anyway. More forward progress, but the top 20 is long gone. And that's 51st. Gosh, we almost cracked that top 50. Yeah! Before jumping into the next race, a few things have stood out so far in the season. One, lots of popularity boosts. 7 or 8 of them so far this season. There is potential for it. Doesn't look like we have much potential for it, but there is potential for it. We'll have different riders next year. Very different team. Still from 1-1 nations from the looks of it, though. 2, we've already noticed that we've got some really old riders on our team. And actually, the database across the board has plenty of riders my age and older. There's lots of old guard, but the vast majority of them are retiring at the end of this season. The game doesn't really have a mechanic to keep riders around at that age. And so the vast majority, if not all of them, are quickly deciding it's time to retire. And 3, this is the race we need the top 20. And I'm grateful that it's this race and not the last race. We saw how bad our team could be in the last one. We saw how hard it was to hold position, even with a high effort. Wasn't 99, though. There was probably more I could have done to help them a little bit more and not see a split. But it's not like we were the only ones seeing the split. Lots of riders were dropped. But as a sprint finish, our chances of a top 20 are greatly increased with a whole lot less undulation in this race. Let's also, one other thing is that a few of these riders raced yesterday. Zamet, Jamoto, Foseni. And so their motivation's not as bad as it was. It's low, but it's not bad. So we've got some zeros out there and a few -2s. Only one -4, only one 0 motivation rider is definitely looking a lot better for today. Now, had I anticipated that that was going to be the case, probably would have just placed the same 7 riders on back-to-back days. Keep that in mind for next season if I have something similar, but I have a feeling that we're going to have a better calendar next year regardless. Coming up on 60 kilometers left to go. This is a big race for us. This is the only regular race with an objective for the sponsor. And with a broken element, that affects all the other races, this may be the only chance to impress. Fuseni was supposed to be one of the few guys to have a good race day condition. It didn't happen. He's got a -3 draw. But Jimoto and Mao both have +2s. They are among the protected riders. And Ascot, our youngest rider, he's got a 53 sprint. And he might be one of our best options, which is sad. We are almost done climbing here, and I think I need just a little more effort this time for this last leg. It's steep. Yeah, there's definitely a push. There's an acceleration. Front 6 have a 2-minute 40-second advantage. And they've not been given a lot of leeway, so I have a feeling that there could be danger for them. And right now we are seeing a great scenario of 38 left in the peloton, and those behind have lost contact. I'd love to see it stay like that, because 38 versus a chase of 6 would really set us up nicely for a chance, but it is coming back together. 88 now, unfortunately. Too good to be true. As we go into the final circuit, it loops. There's a little hill. There's the little hill. That hill's gonna hurt. Look at what just happened there with an acceleration and a couple riders going clear momentarily and then getting chased. That's gonna do some damage, and we're gonna hit that thing 5 more times on our way to the finish line. And with the acceleration to chase the front 6, which it's down to a minute 45, I have noticed, and here's that left-hander again. Yeah, that is rough. That is rough. Big acceleration each time, and we are struggling to keep up with the acceleration. Group is shrinking. It's down to 48 now. I'm okay if 1 or 2 riders get away. I mean, the best case scenario for us is 1 or 2 dominant riders to go clear, while our group disintegrates. It's down to 49, so that scenario is coming in again. It's time to get... It's probably too late for these 3. The 3 domestiques up front are... They're probably going to get beat up here and drop. Not as big of an acceleration that time until we came out of it. Simmons, Zamet, back end of the 48, shrinking group. Chances of a top 20 looking better and better, but the front 6 are still a minute 55 up the road. What the heck is going on with those guys? Got a 67 climber, 64 sprinter. A couple of weaker guys. How are they doing so well? How are they holding us off that well? They don't look that strong. A couple of those are pretty good riders, but none of them are dominant riders. And we're going to see this group thin out, I think, on the next one. Which also means it's time for the guys that are here. Get up to an 87 on the Everett. Any gel. 17K. Comes that next acceleration. 4 riders go clear.
We've got 15 kilometers.
And the peloton's actually coming back together? No, it splits. 22 now. 22 chasing. Oh, this is looking good. This is looking good for that part. Can I, with 4 riders and 15K... I don't know what we could do, but if there's 22 here and there's 6 up there, and we've got 5 of them, like we're almost in the top 20 right now as it is. But I think we could do better. I think we can crack the top 10 as things are going. Almaskri's gonna just tag onto the back. He does not have enough to actually do anything here, and then we need to see. I think the climbing part, as well as the sprint, are both going to be important. Mao is looking pretty good. Jimoto's not actually very strong, so Mao's the strongest. Yeah, there's riders very close behind, and we do not want them getting in here. So Faseni, bring us forward. It's now 20. Now 20 riders. 11.7. Okay, here comes his first big push. Contact is made once again.
The riders are entering the last 10 kilometers of the stage.
And it doesn't split? No, it does split. 23. Said he is nearly done. And he is done. 10K to go.
leader is down. The team plans could well be turned upside
Sunny
down.
is actually hanging on here. Screen is not. 30 chasing 5 is what we're looking at. It's a 1 minute gap. Ascot putting enough pressure on that there's a small chance to catch these guys. We're going to hit this one last time. And Ascot pushing hard.
This climb is feared by many riders.
Okay,
The
99.
percentages are very high. Only 5 kilometers left.
5K. Very well positioned here. 4K. 30 seconds to those guys. Sprint for Ascot. Soft sprint. Jamoto trying to come through. Very well positioned, but the front 5 have not been caught. There they are. Come on, Jamoto is well placed. Jamoto is well placed for a top 20. Maybe a top 10.
A great victory. He didn't overextend
Mao's coming on
himself.
too
He was
late.
certainly the smartest today.
Jamoto is going to get a top 10. Yes, he does. He gets 8th place. He gets 8th place. The breakaway hangs on, sweeps the top 5 by mere seconds, and we get 8th. We get 8th with a 50, a guy with a 50 mountain rating and a 50 sprint and a 53 stamina, a 52 flat with a couple +2s and 3s. Just got 8th place. Hell yeah. Big, big, big for the sponsor objective. Not a victory, though. Not a victory. Nor is it a 1.1 or a 2.1. Going back to the rules real quick as we go to wrap this episode up, just trying to make it clear. To unlock, I need a 1.1 or a 2.1 level race. I actually didn't even pay attention. This might be... I need to go back and look to see what level this race is. But let's say it wasn't a 1.1 or a 2.1. There's still 2 nations to unlock eligible for the lower level races, and those are 2 nations that have a popularity of popularity of 1, Monaco and Liechtenstein. But unlike the other 30 we have in the pool right now, they have better training ratings. A training of 2 and a training of 3, respectively, for those. And so I have set them aside a victory, which technically we had some, right? But we're not counting those because it was national championships with no other riders or a total of 11 and having a silly breakaway win. Yeah, we won it. We won a breakaway. We won a race against 11 other riders, but it was not a head-to-head 11 rider race. Win this race, and oh yeah, it would count. Yeah, it's a 1.2, so it needs to be a 1.1 or a 2.1. So this would have been a Monaco/Liechtenstein type race. Hopefully that clears things up with that. That is a good performance. Sponsors have got to be very happy with that. We even followed it up with a 14th and Mao 21st. He was so close. But hey, he's got 2 teammates ahead of him. The Guamanian, Jamoto. Love to see it. That's going to do it for this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, but really take a moment this time. Helps with the algorithm. It's going to be a long series. The more people that find it in the first 3 episodes are going to set the series up to actually last for the entirety of the year and, not get the early boot. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.